Thank you so much for throwing that, and my mic unfortunately was muted. So, welcome back everybody. That was an absolute banger of a game. So far on the desk, everybody said that this was going to be a tug of war, and this first game has genuinely proved it. So far, predictions standing correct with CLG winning at least one game. They did really well here, veteran. And that early game pressure that we saw from CLG, we really saw them win that fight. They ended up getting the Herald as well. Talk us through that first clip.
Yeah, I mean, actually, 300 were ahead initially on the early rotations. And then when it all came down to this Herald contest on topside, and you had GSL topside, as you can see on your screen right now, looking to channel his recall here. If he channels it here, he can actually be there at the contest, albeit on a little bit of a delay, but they'll have a numbers advantage. He stays, but he stays on such low mana that it's not actually viable for him to enter River and join this contest. And as a result, this Herald play ends up being something that CLG can actually say no to. 300 are the aggressive ones, as Qualifier was saying, but it's CLG, they see the small window and they immediately take it, and we see that early skirmishing from them. It's a bit of a flip for the Herald, but even Draco's able to be here first, because if Jace expends mana trying to keep Aatrox in lane, then Jace can't actually have any mana for the teamfight itself. This ends up leading to Graves having to stay around topside for longer to push out the lane for Jace, and when he does that, this Herald that you just saw take on your screen gets translated bot, and suddenly Aaron has all of the plates on him. CLG's Aphelios has the tools needed to carry, and he was able to do that beautifully for the rest of the game, which is another thing we had a question about, a team that normally plays heavy topside unless something happens bot early. No, this time, when they realized they could play for the Wincom bot, they went straight for it. And that was really good development from CLG compared to what we saw before.
Yeah, we spoke about this earlier on as well on the desk, how CLG, they try to prefer those, they really do prefer those early skirmishes, something we were a little worried about. We even mentioned, yourself, Fire, that 300 specifically, they're one of those teams that really love that early aggression. This time around, it didn't play out in their favor at all, and it even carried over towards those fights specifically on that second replay when we're looking at that fight in for the Drake as well. Can you walk us through that one?
Yeah, so I mean, definitely at this point already, 300 had felt a little lost. You're at this more late game team fight where you don't have an AD carry. It gets really split really early. You see there's almost like 3 fights going on once here. Leo does manage to insect Aaron, but Aaron is basically just like, okay, sure, you're sending me towards my team and actually not towards any of your own. And Aaron does barely die at the end, but really the fact that the Aphelios was able to stay alive for so long there, and because he had all that extra gold from that early game, from all those plates, he was the beneficiary of almost all of their kills early game as well. It really good props to Aaron to actually be able to come through on those team fights. I like the aggressive flash forward he had in that fight as well, showing that he can put on the carry pants when he needs them. But definitely for 300, school's out. I got my backpack here, right? I don't need this. I could throw this away, just like it felt like 300 kind of away all their game plans. We were expecting to see a dominant mid-jungle duo, lots of aggression. They picked Graves Azir. They still went for some mid-lane plays. They still tried to make some stuff happen, but you're Graves Azir. You're both mostly playing to scale. You're trying to get to those later game stages. And again, this is, maybe just another thing that I hate to see it all the time in amateur. These teams that are playing for scaling with no AD carry. It is just so hard to match up against an AD carry. The AD carry, his job is so easy. He just has to right-click you, whereas you have to find some way to kill him through a Bloodthirster, Flash, a Lulu. He even has, these flankers coming from all over the place that are essentially peeling for him, right? So definitely for 300, I'm expecting to see them do a pretty big shift for this next game. I think they probably aren't happy at all with how that game went. Maybe they got a little bit in their own heads with some of the Senna flexing, Cho'Gath, Graves going all over the place. So I really hope to see them return to where they're really comfortable next game and give a better showing.
Yeah, the game plan for 300 this time didn't really work out for them. CLG Faith, however, veteran, they had a solid plan. They stuck to it. Even the weaknesses that we pointed out that we are a little bit worried about for them specifically, they absolutely ignored those and they just hit the ground running so far, leading this game best of 3 with that first game win. Is this what you expect to see? Are you happy with their performance? And do you think they'll be able to replicate it next game?
I mean, what I saw there was much more fluid adaptation than we saw before from them. them. And maybe this is low pally being there, or maybe this is just a team being more comfortable with each other. But what the advantages that they took were a reaction to a changed game state that was not really anything to do with them, but to the ability to have that quick split-second decision-making and follow it through for the rest of the game. That's an incredibly exciting thing to see, and it's going to make this series a lot closer than definitely I predicted. I'm already out the running in that one. Quick thing, although I definitely think Olrun is player of the game, they gave him the resources and he carried the game with it. The game plan 300 normally do their 2v2 aggression onto midsection. Akali just would not be baited for it. Town just did not let them get what they wanted to do early on. You saw them very heavily drag Graves towards midsection at least once, and trade very aggressively, tried to make Akali burn her into them. She wouldn't go for it, so they stayed very firm until they saw a window, and once they got the window, big map play, really good game from them.
Yeah, and just quickly, I can tell you as a mid laner, it's harder than it looks to not go in on that. When the other guy, you're like, what's this guy doing? He's being so stupid. I'm gonna go kill. Oh, they're junglers here. That's why.
Oopsie.
So really good props to Town. That's something that usually I expect. As we get into the deeper tournaments, more into proving grounds, people playing that safer, respectful style. But if he's got it nailed down now, it's really good.
Yeah, mid lane, definitely one of those matchups that we highlighted. Fire as the last point here. Do you think that we need to be keeping our eyes on that mid lane matchup going into the next game?
I think we really do, especially I think if Leo goes back onto something more aggressive. I want to see the Tryndamere. I want to see the Aurelia. I want to see a pick where he can both win lane and then still have high impact in skirmishes as well as team fights. Azir is great for that later game stuff, but give him some more playmaking. Give him the ability to go in and really make things happen.
Yeah. I personally want to see an AD carry on Minuri. If you're going to end up with APs on midsection, why not just go back to your standard AD carries on Minuri? He hasn't seemed so comfortable on the Cho'Gath or on mages beforehand. If Leo's going to play the mages, let's just get him on that. And then, Fire gets to see some damage from you late game.
Well, we're going to be heading into the second game of this evening for the CLGF versus 300 series. We got Graves and Smacks on the mic still. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Jeannie. Welcome back to the caster desk, everybody. Game number 2 about to go underway, and CLG Faith finding themselves up 1-0 for the first time this tournament so far.
Yeah, and I don't know if we've flown this graphic, but we had our caster predictions. Grapes and I were just looking on Twitter at them, and only Rebel Fox predicted CLG to win this series. Now, him and Janiro, we don't want to take it away from her.
True.
The two of them have some pretty big brains right about now. Everybody else predicting 300, which I think just goes to show how surprising it is that CLG did look so dominant in that last game. I mean, we saw that gold grab, very blue, very CLG favorite.
It was very impressive stuff coming out from CLG. Sure, the game lasted a long time. We were kind of making jokes about that being 40 minutes and again while we're here on the broadcast, but it was very well executed. They made sure that they weren't making any mistakes, gave zero room for opportunity for the side of 300 to try and come back into this game. And I think a large part of that, Smacks, comes down to the way that CLG executed their early game, putting the gold into the right resources in Aaron, and then just kind of being at a space where they're always, in control and able to take advantage wherever they want on the map.
And, we have to look back and also credit the fact that Baco did manage this because of two things in specific. One was that Low Pally and Aaron were playing the bottom lane very well. They were pushing out the Senna Cho'Gath very consistently. They got a very solid recall where they had 2 waves crashing under the turret. That is just a bottom lane advantage. That's a bot gap right there that allowed Baco to get Drake. The Rift Herald steal was a jungle gap, though. Yeah. That one was Baco. He had the better smite, 25 HP. He's the one who gets it. He's the one who takes that one and extends the bot gap even further. It's those 3 players in specific that were making this work. And the most interesting thing about that here at Grapes is that for CLG, they just subbed in their support. It's Low Pally, the coach, stepping in when Trevor Roy's not able to play. And for 300, it is Naima not playing anymore and Perry stepping in. Those are the roles that were most impacted on the rosters. And it feels like those were the roles that were the biggest impact in CLG winning the game. Maybe a coincidence, but we're just going to have to find out if that continues to be the case.
Yeah, and I know Lopale has had some experience playing back in the day and also serving a lot of time in the competitive sphere now as a coach. But Beiko specifically really stood out to me, especially on a pick like the Viego, something that we have not seen too much out of him so far throughout 2022 or just in general in his career. You know, being part of Arizona State and Supernova last split was never really on the teams that were at the top echelons of either collegiate or amateur. But now that we're here and finding himself an opportunity here on CLG Faith, it's really impressive to see kind of the amount of trust that both CLG and his team have put into this new jungler.
It's really cool, and especially considering like they know that in the long run that spot is Rosethorn's, right? Because he's subbing in for CLG Academy. He will be on this team eventually. Mako definitely making the most of it right now. He has looked very impactful on a very flashy build too, like Kraken Slayer, Viego, like all this damage coming through and still making it work for him. I really enjoyed that look from him. I also do want to highlight Draco in this game because he's consistently, that's 4 games in a row now, where he has had Camille, Gwen, and Fiora banned away from him. This is his 3rd game on the Aatrox. He just smashed every single fight. He's the only frontline for his team, and he is really, really crushing everyone, every single one of those engages. I loved that from him.
Yeah, and on the other side, Jisung was somebody that we were talking about being a really great team fighter on things like the Aatrox. So maybe a bit of a takeaway, also comfort again for Draco. But it signaled that, you know, CLG Faith up in the top side of the map. Draco, you know, we had some struggles in that last series against Team Pending. Really wasn't able to move topo very much. But we're seeing right now, you know, being on a pick like this Aatrox could be crucial, and maybe some of the comfort as well, especially considering how strong that Akali looked in that last game.
Yeah, the Akali, we were talking about this before, might be banned, which might give Draco one of his 3 champions that have been banned every game. And I, for one, I want to see it because, you know, it's very clear that Draco has a lot of comfort on his champions. He's very good at them in solo queue and likely scrims too. But a stage game is an entirely different thing, like in this group stage. And that's something that we haven't seen yet because this is Draco's first competitive team. So I'm hoping, I'm got my fingers crossed that one of those champions will come through for him. It's not starting off the best.
You know, Smax, that it is, you know, also true that if that doesn't happen, then we get to see Tan play the Akali again. And so I'm not complaining either way, I feel like, as we head into the draft again. 300 selecting blue side this time around as a team that just lost. I would expect heavy jungle priority early on in the draft here because I feel like Perry getting his hands on either a Wukong or a Viego would be very, very good for him.
There's always the idea that CLG did first pick that Viego in order to remove it from Perry's pool, as they are continuing to ban away a lot of these junglers. The Lilia, I'm imagining the Taliyah and the Wukong are joining that, but Grapes, it's not the Akali, but we do have it.
Okay.
We don't get all 3 Draco bans. He likely will be playing one of the Draco champs.
Dude, it must be so good. It must feel so good to be Draco right now. You're like, oh, I finally get a little bit of breathing room. And still, of course, you know, Camille, Gwen have counter picks, but I think, you know, wouldn't be too surprised to see it locked in the first 3, just considering how highly prioritized those 3 champions specifically have been. And actually seeing that Jax takeaway signifies maybe 300 is actually setting up for some sort of matchup that they want in the top lane.
Yeah, so they're agreeing that Fiora is not something they want to play against, but the other options in the Camille and the Gwen are completely okay, it turns out, for a 300. Well, not completely, but they're all right, as opposed to this Jax, which does have a lot more power now that CLG are playing on blue side, and or on red side, excuse me. Wukong not banned in favor of this Gwen, and it looks like 300 actually got away with a pretty solid draft maneuver here.
Yeah.
Banning the Jax removes the big counter pick away from the Gwen, so CLG don't want to play against that one, and instead, it's the Wukong that gets through.
Yeah, Wukong locked in here for Perry. Now we see the Senna actually on the CLG side. Senna TK has really risen in priority. We saw the Senna Cho'Gath on 300 side in the last game, but the Tahm Kench is just tried and true. Aaron was on this champion in CLG's lone win against TP in week number 1, and we'll try to pilot it again to some success here in this first rotation.
I like this one a lot. It does just have a lot of utility for the rest of this team, and for a champion like that Akali that I feel like still likely to get from town right now. That's something that she does really appreciate. All this healing and all the safety of just playing around this team fight. Once that shroud drops, you want a Tahm Kench to be there with you to make sure you don't die. Touching on these picks from 300, though, they've got the Renata and the Kog'Maw together. Lulu, of course, banned. Really interesting hyper carry switch up here from Manui, something that Veteran was hoping to see from him, just not playing the melee champions anymore. He will be playing a marksman this time.
Yeah, Veteran's definitely jumping up and down with excitement in his seat right now. You got to see Manui do some damage here with the Kog'Maw locked in. I feel like this is actually a very interesting kind of turn here for 300. Manui, back in his time on Wildcard last split as well, really was kind of resorted to a lot of the utility picks as well. But now on 300, having a little bit more faith maybe put into him on a hyper carry like this Kog'Maw. Definitely going to be interesting to keep our eyes on as we still have the solo laners to select in this second rotation. LeBlanc being taken away from Leo, very strong assassin pickup, and on the other side, that flex pick of the Vladimir taken away.
And we were a bit off base with what we thought the third pick here for CLG was going to be. It is going to go right back to Baco, right back to that Viego. Leaves the opportunity to ban away Camille and Akali away from both Draco and Town. They did just go for the Vladimir again, though. That flex pick between the two of them, more valuable. Yeah, I like it.
That's pretty good into things like the Gangplank as well, which I know Jisung can also pilot relatively well. There it is, potentially hovered. Akali would be a pretty smart takeaway from Town. Has, I think, played it in both of CLG's Faith's wins so far in the group stage. So definitely would be, you know, something new for Town to pull out. Has things like this Syndra that he was playing in the open qualifiers. Again, on the new patch, not entirely sure what CLG are going to prioritize here.
Draco's Camille. It's still up if they want to blind pick that one. Like you said, there is that Gangplank possibility that we've seen very heavily prized in other series across this entire tournament. And with that, it looks like they actually are just going to save the counter pick for later, maybe giving that Gangplank up to Jisung or saving it for Draco. Maybe. It doesn't really strike me as a Gangplank there, personally. Either way, it's Victor blind for Town.
It's a pretty safe blind pick here. I think CLG has realized that, you know, getting Draco a good matchup is very crucial to their success. And so allowing this counter pick on the R5 will be pretty big for the likes of CLG Faith. But we're getting more damage here in the draft for 300 Smacks. Azir didn't work out super well for Leo in that last game, but we know how comfortable he is on the champion. Going to see him pilot it once more.
And now we finally do get that blind top laner for Jisung. Is it the Gangplank? Is it that champion that we've seen a whole lot of? Huh? He's hovering it.
It does have a lot of priority here in terms of just champions that have
pick.
appeared a lot throughout the group stage so far. But it will be the Aatrox lock here, stealing that away potentially from Draco. Camille, that champion that was banned away in game number 1, still potentially on the board. Not entirely sure how that matchup ends up working, but maybe something new coming out from Draco this time around.
Oh, he's definitely thinking about that signature pick of his. I want to touch on this Victor just briefly as we're waiting for that pick to come through. This is a champion that has not lost yet in the entire group stage. All of week 1, it went, I believe, 4-0, including a very stellar game from Maryville's APA, where he, I believe, got 18 kills in that one.
Crazy, yeah. I remember seeing the highlights for that. Ooh.
Yeah, this champion looks really good, no matter who's playing it. And Town piloting this one now in the second game of the series. If that continues, I would imagine that this is going to go very well for CLG yet again. They've got a composition that doesn't actually move around a lot this time. Apart from Draco, their flanks are really not as much present right now. They've got Town on a very stationary pick, a zone-heavy pick, as opposed to that Akali that we saw in the previous game. Will be a different playstyle and will be something that CLG does need to adjust to, as they don't have that same means of getting into a fight like they did before.
Yeah, I have a good feeling that, you know, we're gonna have a lot of you know, team fighting potential on both of these teams. You have the Aatrox flanking in from Jisung, which is what we saw for the last time. And of course, you have Kog'Maw versus Tahm Kench in the bot lane, which means that the team fights will be pretty big. For CLG, a win here would secure them that sweep and a chance to stay alive here in this Proving Grounds qualifier group stage. Unfortunately, a slight delay getting into the game, so we're going to take a quick break before we get ourselves onto the Rift. We'll see you all in a few with Game 2. Welcome back, everybody. We apologize again for the short delay, but Max and I are here on to the Rift for game number 2 of this second week matchup at the Proving Grounds Circuit Qualifier. It's 300 looking to try and even this series up. CLG had a really great game, Smax, and I think they're going to try to replicate a couple of some of the things that went well for them.
Yeah, I would say so. The problem with that is that they, like I said in the draft, don't have the flank potential that they did before. They do not have Town playing the 3000 HP Akali. He instead is going to be playing the Victor. You know, maybe he'll get 3000 HP. I don't think Victor does that very often, but
I did
nonetheless,
see Leo.
not very many flanks.
Yeah, Leo actually had a pretty decent amount of HP in that last game as well. I don't know if we have like an official number on that, but it looked, the health bar also like looked pretty tanky. I know like at some point they like kind of they kind of consolidate the health bar, so it looks like you have less health when you actually have more, like when you hit like 4000 or something. So that might have been what we saw with Leo, but these mages can get pretty tanky nowadays with the itemizations that they have.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Leo go for the Rylai's Crystal Scepter, too,
Right.
which has a lot of HP built into it, so wouldn't be super surprised if the Azir build ended up getting him 3k HP. I don't know about Victor, though. You know,
Yeah,
I've got a friend, his name is Sabe, I'm going to call him out directly. Sabe really likes going Rylai's Crystal Scepter on Victor, and that is really, really bad, because all of his spells already slow you.
I guess like when they're upgraded, is that like they?
Yeah. When
yeah,
you
that
finish
makes
off
sense.
your Victor bucks, your side quest, all of your spells already slow them.
So it's just it doesn't compound, so not the best.
Yeah.
I guess here
No.
coming up from Victor.
Yeah, I'm coming for you, Ethan. You heard me.
Man, the callouts on stream. There's like so many people watching too. It's just, everyone's gonna know.
They should know. This guy has done this in my games. He needs to stop. I want my normal game LP.
The normal game that is crucial. I know we were talking with Qualifier as well about like Smurf Q and how that ends up working out. But
Yep.
not there just yet. You can see bot blue buff starts for both the junglers again, working towards opposite sides of the map. Interestingly enough, though, this time Perry will kind of get that priority around the bot lane. With that double range setup again from 300 max. I don't know if you're liking what you're seeing right now out of the way that these junglers have had.
You know, I definitely am for Perry. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just really like pathing toward bottom lane in this meta, where you've got some really solid lanes. You know, I can understand trying to just let Senna exist on her own, but as you're seeing on your screen right now, it's not going very well.
Right.
Low Pally not able to farm very well, and Manui is playing this Kog'Maw that's going to scale super nicely into the late game.
I mean, maybe Raheem got the that pregame meal after game number 1, right? That's a very solid like set of food that you can just eat like every day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like get some rice and chicken. Maybe that's what's given 300 the buff this time around.
Yeah, you know, I agree with him. My favorite food in the entire world is fried rice. So I can empathize
Good stuff.
with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Raheem there with like the chicken and the greens, maybe going for a little bit more health. I don't know if the rice would be fried in this scenario, but I do agree, very tasty stuff. Just not sure if it's fitting exactly for what Raheem like kind of wants at this point with what the meal suggests. You know what I mean?
Well, it is fitting in this game with how he wants the wave to go, because the wave is coming into 300 right now. It's giving Perry time to go for this gank.
Yeah. Good move early by Perry. The Abyssal Dive will come out, finally going to land here by Low Pally. Pops the shield, but not enough damage to take down the Tahm Kench. That's why you have these center lane smacks. They just refuse to die after so much pressure.
Well played there by Low Pally. He waited out for all the crowd control to be done, and luckily for him, that was just the Renata stun. That's the only
not much
possible
LCC.
thing. Yep. Nothing else. There's no Wukong Cyclone quite yet. No Berserk on top of him. So we'll just be able to Abyssal Dive on out of there. Unfortunately, the wave is still going away from them right now, and it means that Low Pally will miss even more of these minions. But hey, at least he lived.
Yeah, and also getting Aaron CS, not the worst thing. You know, I feel like from my time casting Aaron both here and also just in collegiate, does pretty well with gold. Of course, has a support passive, so actually not getting a lot of gold off of creeps that he has taken away. Only, I believe, 4 off of each minion, not 3. So maybe a slight downside there, but either way, getting a little bit of extra experience. That's what you want to do on the Senna. Continue to kind of scale up.
This would be interesting. Town super low in this lane. You can hop that wall. Shout out to Strompist, who
Yes.
put out a nice guide on how to do that. But Perry not interested. Instead's going for these Raptors. And with Town super low under that turret, not only is he susceptible to that dive, but also he can't really help this out. Baco will just have to watch this happen.
I really like what we've been seeing out of Perry so far in this game. Going for the early gank down on the bot side, forcing low pally to go for that reset, and then again going for an aggressive invade up in the top side of the map. And I feel like this is what 300 was kind of missing in that last game. That early agency coming out from a jungler that can be so explosive like Perry wasn't there really on the Graves. Now the Wukong, maybe a little bit more opportunity to go for some of these 1v1 skirmishes. Looking like a lot more kind of action happening here for 300 to start things off.
No wards for Raheen and Manui, and there's some stealth, a knock-up as well. Oh boy.
There's a knock-up here for low pally. Manui in a bit of trouble here. Gonna have that passive proc here alongside of that Renata, but it's not enough to get the reset. First blood coming out again for CLG Faith.
He sure did have to die a lot of times right there, thanks to the bailout and the Kog'Maw passive, the Icathian surprise. But die he did all the same. Another successful bot lane play for Baeko, and we're going to watch this again. There's no ward here. There's no way for them to scout this one out, and they don't even see the Tahm Kench there, so very sneakily he gets this knock-up, and Manui is just not ready for it.
Yeah, and as a Kog'Maw, not much you can really do. It doesn't burn either of the summoners because, you know, he was pretty dead, all things considered. Actually does burn the heal, out of Aaron to make sure that he does not die to the Icathian surprise. So early on, CLG again getting onto the board first. The gold is in Baeko's favor, which is why he's up on top with the kill.
Yep. Really nicely done for Baeko. Looks like he's going for the Kraken Slayer build again.
Yeah.
Which is a bit surprising to me, considering there's no super tank anymore. But, you know, it was fun to watch. I endorse fun.
This could also like build into Gore Drinker, I believe, but I feel like Gore Drinker Viego doesn't work out very well most of the time.
You can go Gale Force.
That would also be a decision. It's another decision that can be made. Again, don't want to comment on how how good it might be. But
you know who's the best at Viego builds is Yukino. If you want to get all of the different Viego builds imaginable in the game and like what they're good at and what they're bad at, ask Yukino Cat. He will be able to tell you every single thing. Have you heard the tales of the Yukino slide, Grapes?
you might have to clarify for me because I'm not 100% sure.
The Yukino slide is when you Prowler's Claw through somebody with Viego, and yes, that is Prowler's Claw, and then it sets up for the stun on your Spectral Maw, so you can't miss it. So you get in there. With this build specifically, you're going to be going for lethality and then into crit. So you have a collector, and you go for Essence Reaver because it works with your ult, and then you go for Infinity Edge. You one-shot people.
That is, I guess, yeah, the Viego builds. That is a Viego build. I've never heard of that before, but I feel like Yukino knows what he's doing on that champion. You know, top 10.
He does.
Queue, plays a lot of it. You know, on the Viego specifically. EGP looking very good right now as well. So I guess we do have to trust him in there.
Yeah. So yes, Infinity Edge. Yeah, that is the build. Because the ultimate not only does it apply on hits like Machine, but it also crits. So it's a pretty good build. Highly recommend, especially in ARAMs. It's really fun in ARAM.
Production having a conversation with us as well with the screens here. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it's another slow game here on the Academy stream. 9 minutes in, just one kill, slightly in favor of CLG Faith as we saw in game number 1. They're gonna get the Herald as well, so this time Perry actually picking that one up. So no steal from Baeko this time around. Instead, maybe priority around this dragon.
And it feels pretty solidly in the favor of CLG now after that first gank in the bottom lane. You know, even though they are down in CS, this Kog'Maw is put pretty far behind by dying that early. And now with this Drake, you have the Senna able to rotate up. It's gonna be pretty smooth sailing from here on out from Aaron and Low Pally, as long as Baeko doesn't choose to leave them in the dust from here. You have to imagine that he's gonna go and nurture for his bottom lane. You can't just You can't just like teach him. What was the metaphor? You can give
him a fish.
Give a fish. Yeah. What is? How does that go?
Teach a man to fish, and then he will eat for a lifetime.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now, Baeko is giving them one fish in the favor of a kill that he stole away. So might have to do a little bit more teaching here.
He like went up. He's like, all right, guys, I'm going to catch a fish. And he doesn't say a single thing.
And then he also ate it.
He eats it in front of them. And then he's like, all right, see you later.
Like, I will say, like, focus on the bot lane for CLG will be pretty important. Because as you can see right now, Manui, despite dying early on, is still able to get a whole lot of farm. Already working at a pretty big item advantage despite actually falling early on in that fight. So I do believe, you know, Baco going down and trying to make an impact on that side of the map again will be pretty important down the line. And hasn't happened just yet, Smacks, but I mean, Baco pathing up to the top side right now, which means that bot lane might be next on the menu.
We're also seeing that Aaron and Low Pally aren't fully ready to walk into their lane quite yet, and you can very easily see why. This could be the trap setup right now. Nice ward there. Oh, yeah. That is the difference between life and death for sure.
It's still not great for CLG Faith. They're gonna lose a couple of plates, funnel more gold into Minui as well. And Perry actually popping the Rift Herald in addition to that. Don't know if it's enough to take down the turret just yet, but with Raheen back down here with his ultimate, could be pretty bad. Low Pally gonna get berserked up first. Aaron, beautiful pathing to get away from the rest of the damage. Town also in a lot of trouble, but getting caught up here by that gravity well, so Leo will not be able to finish that kill off.
Really close right there for Town, but he's able to stun them up and walk away, even keeping his flash. I want to talk about that bottom lane play one more time, because yes, it is that entire turret taken. I don't get the chance to do that.
Yeah, here comes a lot of action all at once again. Draco with a beautifully placed Hextech ultimatum, keeping Jisung down in the 1v1 in Town. Again, trying to make things interesting for us here, Smacks. The kills are almost starting to come through, but they're still living somehow.
Well, not top lane though. Draco gets the solo kill thanks to his ignite. We're gonna look at that one in just a little bit because we have to watch what happened mid first. They were trading their ultimates. Oh, Town just walks directly into the soldiers there. I don't think that's the best way to start off a trade, but no. He does get to live in the end. This is what I'm more interested in because Draco, he's had this champion banned against him 4 times in a row. This is the 5th game that he's played. He finally gets to play it. Jisung knew this champion was coming from him thanks to all those bans, and he just can't do anything about it. Even though he's picking the champion specifically against this Camille, it just doesn't matter.
There's a great usage of that ulti again. That invulnerability away from the sweet spot, not only preventing the damage from coming through, but also the additional healing that Jisung would have been able to have there, keeping himself alive for longer. It seemed like the Aatrox just kind of got ripped down pretty quickly in that fight, despite being, you know, a pretty beefy frontliner here for 300 down the line. So really nice job from Draco. And you can see CLG Faith retaking a little bit of control after that bot lane turret went down.
This is going to matter quite a bit, though. The bottom lane turret, I should say, because Minui very close to that Blade of the Ruined King. Once he gets that and a Rage Blade, these team fights will be pretty simple for them on the side of 300. They just knock everybody up with the Wukong and the Azir, and from there you just click them.
Well, this is why you go for the lane swap. Draco gonna get caught out here by 2 members of 300. Leo is running down as well, but not gonna have to do anything to secure that kill. So Draco will fall. Jisung gets 1 back, now even at 1-1.
Moves there. Draco, no ultimate, no flash because he took ignite, and no hook shot. He already used it, so
yeah.
Very easy gank there from Perry. Double Cyclone, super smooth. And yeah, Draco punished very nice. It's 1-1 for both top laners now. The true top lane experience, just killing each other in the side lane over and over.
Yep, and I feel like we might see a little bit more of that here. As this again is a pretty volatile 1v1. Both of these top laners were new players that I think Smacks, both of us were pretty hyped on going into this season.
Yeah.
We saw a lot about from Draco on the Aatrox. Jisung had a great game on the Aatrox against in their last matchup as well, so against AoE. So I think that overall, pretty exciting stuff so far. A kill either way makes perfect sense at this point.
Yeah, in a pool of players that are like all relatively new, super young, and ready to get into the competitive landscape, I think for Jisung and Draco, they know that they really do need to stand out because they're among the likes of like Porsche and Sniper and Zamudo as well. Like all these guys are really fighting to be that next up and coming top laner in North America. So I'm sure me alongside a lot of other people have our eyes dead set on how Draco and Jisung and all those other names that I just mentioned as well, some of which we'll be seeing later, are going to perform.
Top lane is pretty fun to watch at this point with all the young new players that we have in amateur. We got Soul that got promoted recently as well.
Yeah, true.
Just a lot of new young faces that are doing really well, I'd say.
I don't know where Anime Girl went though. I kind of missed.
Nah, I don't know where yet. They're gone, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Well, not rest in peace, but yeah.
You don't want Anime Girl to rest in peace?
No, I wanted to come back. That's why.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Ultimates again up to the top side of the map. Jisung will die. Nice ulti coming out from Aaron as well to get a bit of an assist. Baeko picking up his second kill of the game. The response for 300 is the cracking open of mid lane tier 1 with that second Rift Herald. So, turret 4 kill so far. Might be a little bit more. The range out of Minui is big, and that is Lopal just getting bursted down. And looks like 300 want to go for more. Town getting locked in by the Berserk teleport coming in from Draco to try and maybe continue the chase. Town flashing forward here. Huge gravity well, as well as the Chaos Storm. Raheen has to flash away as well. Here comes Draco. He's going to get one. Leo up in the front side trying to get something down as well. Town drops, and Leo is now hammering in the soldiers onto Aaron. Not enough damage from the Senna, and 300 coming out huge in that fight.
Now we get 300 finding these plays. They had the play set up so early on right there with the Rift Herald. 2 members from CLG Faith spending a lot of time diving in the bottom lane, but CLG still felt like they could do something in this play. I want to keep an eye on a few key ultimates, the Renata one and the Azir one here, because the Wukong ultimate is really nice, but the Berserk lands just a tad too late, and Leo's not able to scoop up Town, which allows for this really interesting re-engage. It's not something you see very often from Victor, but ends up being rather effective at finding a kill.
It looks so good, but like we were hyping up Town, all the stuff on the Akali, now flashing forward on this Victor and landing like a big 4-man ulti, but enough flashes, I believe, were burned. Raheen was able to survive for a long time with the usage of that summoner spell, and the turnaround really was good from 300. Now Leo 2-0-1, working quickly towards that second item. Potentially that Death Cap might be the Shadow Flame as well, depending on the way that the team competitions have been set up, but 300 in a much better spot than they were in game 1. Now they're actually in a spot in this game where they can, have control and go for sieges on turrets.
You can see how they're going to win these team fights also, because they do have the Kog'Maw now with more backline damage than the Cho'Gath that we saw from before on the Senna,
a lot
too.
more.
Minui, yeah, quite a bit. A lot more range to than Cho'Gath, funny enough. Still Void Beasts though, so they've got that. We need B-Gath. That's what we need next.
I feel like Queen. It's like a Queen bee because it's like the largest one, right?
No, that'd be Bel'Veth, right?
Yes. Okay. So there's not really a king bee though. I was thinking like the bees are large. It's a large bee.
Oh,
anyway, more action on the top side. Jisung actually healing up a whole lot here with the Gorge Drinker. Is able to flash away with the Renata W on top of him as well. Doesn't end up dying. Somehow Jisung survives.
Excellent ult there from Raheen, forcing the members to attack each other. Lopally's under fire.
Once again, the mid lane tower will get broken open here. Aaron and Lopally, not enough agency to really hold down the siege just yet. Minui continuing to get stronger and stronger. Now has the second most CS on his team, working towards that Runon's Hurricane likely for that next item. And this is where the Kog'Maw really starts to get on locksmack.
Yeah, he's going to be super scary. I believe he's going to have that full. I think he's going Runon's Hurricane from this on this recall, thanks to. Oh, he's not recalling. Okay, he needs a little bit more gold, more munches for the Kog'Maw. He's he's still spending some money at these minions. See, this is why I want the B-Gath skin.
So yeah, would it be like a
match
honeycomb that like kind of spikes up for the Q?
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm envisioning at least.
There are already some like Void B skins, right? There's B-Zahar, B-Maw.
Just need to keep finishing out. B Rek'Sai
with
the burrows underneath, right? I guess that's like a wasp Rek'Sai. It's like
that's good.
Digger wasp Rek'Sai. Man, I feel like we keep coming up with great skin ideas, Max, when we're on cast together.
I agree. Great. Yeah. We should look into that as a career switch if this whole thing doesn't work out.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We're doing. I think both these teams doing pretty well as well at this point. Third Dragon online here. CLG Faith up 2-0 could secure that Cloud Soul point if they get the correct positioning. But 300 around the pit first. Jisung is very, very strong here on this front line. Watch Raheen. Watch the ulti. It's about to come up. And it looks like 300 might start to go for the dragon here.
Oh yeah, you can see them just waiting for those ultimates. 300 know that once those are available, this team fight is all but over for them. Jisung being
Here comes
super
the flash
annoying.
carry.
Here's the Cyclone.
Landing the Cyclone in onto 2. Not a whole lot of damage just yet. Watch Draco up in the backside. He just gets instantly melted by the likes of the Kog'Maw. Minui still surviving. Jisung up the backside, but now CLG trying to go for the turn. They already get 2. They get 3. Town still alive. Aaron raining in the shots as well. CLG Faith are turning this fight. The last member is Leo, and he will drop a triple kill for Town as everybody on 300 falls.
The flanks are still here, even when it's only Draco right now, Grapes. He knew what he needed to do. He was the distraction for the rest of the squad, and the rest of the squad's name is Town. Look at all that damage that the Victor was able to deal, and Lopali and Aaron keeping him alive the entire time. We have to watch this one more time to see, because Minui dies super early into this fight, and even with the bailout, there's no way for him to get in. Look at Baco getting in there alongside Draco's ultimate. The 2 rhyming members of the team get in and get the job done.
Minui nearly stayed alive as well. If some of those kills came in just a little bit earlier with the Renata passive on top of, not Renata W on top of him, would have maybe turned this fight around. But hey, he died, Perry died in the Dragon Pit as well, and with that, Town and Aaron just were able to hammer in so much damage onto the rest of the members.
Oh, that gold spike is getting pretty diminished all of a sudden here for CLG Faith, and that is 3 Drakes in a row for them too, Grapes. One more, and that would be a soul. Less impactful than the Hextech one of the game 1 that we saw, but still a valuable one to get, and would let them get back into this game. You have to imagine what movement speed does for these champions that don't otherwise have any dashes or anything, like the Senna and the Victor.
I think Cloudsoul on Victor, Viego, even Camille, the extra movement speed that you get, really good in terms of just continuing to stay alive, stay active in the team fights as well after issuing your big, juicy ultimate spell. And it looks like they're in position to maybe get that right now. CLG Faith winning out on the 5v5 there. Although it was pretty close there, it does look like they're still in position. I like how in the gold graph, it like kind of spiked up for 300 a little bit and then instantly went back down to CLG Faith as everyone else started to die. But right now, 300 still in control right now, still in the gold lead. You can see that here with kind of the pressure that they're still able to get in this mid lane.
This resource split from 300 is super interesting, because they are keeping Leo and Minui in the same lane very consistently. It's actually letting CLG Faith get slightly more gold onto Draco specifically, who's more of a carry for his team, because he and Town are really the only late game carries that want gold in this team. As Aaron started up, they do have a Kog'Maw.
Wow, that's so fast. Yeah, Leo, and that's the Azir Kog'Maw, I guess. Baco has the flash ultimate to try to get over. Will the steal come through? No. Perry locking down the Baron, and now the kills start to come in. Draco, the first of all. Town with a huge flank, but it's not enough follow-up from the likes of CLG Faith. Another member falls, and now Jisung looking to push down into the enemy jungle as well. A 2-for-1 plus the Baron for 300.
Town tried to make that flank work, even though he's playing Victor instead of Akali, and it just didn't pay off. Aaron and Lopali are not there with him. 300 had already taken the Baron, and we're finally seeing 300 actually have these carry members survive these fights and deal all this damage. Look at the Renata ult, man. It's even hitting Lopali. He's licking Baron on the other side of the wall.
And again, you have to wonder if Town was on a different, more assassin-y champion with that flank, how disastrous it could have been for 300. But just able to land down the laser and the ulti, but that before going down. And for 300, pretty big stuff for them right now. They're down in kills, but now up about 3,000 gold, and they have the potential to keep going for the sieges with these empowered minions.
What's the girl in Charlie Brown that takes away the football?
Oh,
you know
Lucy.
what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Lucy. Lopali definitely Lucied Town right there. Because he had his ultimate, and he was walking toward Town, and then Town flashed into him, and then Lopali just walked the other way. That was unlucky.
I mean, Town probably dead either way. But we'll see how 300 end up
maybe.
doing here on the push. Nice lockdown here by Aaron. Take a look at the gold and the itemization down in the bot lane, by the way, here, Smax. 3 items completed on Minui, and Aaron and Lopali both at 1.
This is the Cogger's spike. No mythic needed. He just attacks you very quickly, has all of this on hit,
right click.
and he's even gone for the spread as well, so hit multiple people at the same time. This is a very dangerous situation to play against.
Yeah, Draco and the rest of CLG Faith now facing a little bit of adversity here for the first time this series, it seems like. Gonna have to try to go for an engage before their base gets cracked open. They lock down Minui here with the root. Here comes the knockup. Minui has the passive. Can they get a kill? Can they get the resets? The answer is no, and the Kog'Maw falls. And now CLG might try to turn. Leo falls as well. And now Draco trying to fight 1v2, nearly taking down Perry before dying himself. Now, what can Baco and the rest of CLG Faith do? Not a whole lot of re-engage, so they're just gonna back away. But CLG Faith hold the line without a single inhibitor tower going down.
That's Leo and Minui also dead. If CLG can stay on this map, you have to imagine that this is going to be the soul for them. They're moving in that direction. Baron is still up on the members of 300 that survived, but it's not really going to help if you don't have all of your damage dealers up. Perry just needs to get over this pit and try for another Smite 50-50 win. He is in the vicinity, but they can pull this one out, and maybe Baco can have one of those miracle Smites yet again.
W and Flash available here for Perry, but not even going to get in range. That's the Soul Cloud picked up here for CLG Faith. Extra mobility now generated by them, and they're going to use that to mosey their way out back to their base. Leo coming in with the teleport, looking to try and re-engage. Can the shuffle come through? Not finding the ulti onto anybody as CLG get away.
I don't think he was ever going to find ultimate there, Grapes. It's not quite up. Unfortunate for Leo.
He looked like he really wanted to go for it, yeah.
He could have maybe gotten a flash if he convinced Low Pally that he had it, but unlucky there. Just going for some damage, just scaring him a bit. That is a soul for CLG Faith, as you mentioned. That is a lot of mobility that they now have at their disposal. Might help those team fights even more, as they're seemingly already able to catch out Minui and Leo in that last engage. That is a really, really skillful pick from CLG.
Yeah, Aaron with a really nicely placed W there to lock down Minui and start that fight off. And then, yeah, as soon as you lock down one member with any sort of bit of crowd control smacks, the rest of the re-engage can come in. The Senna ulti, the Camille ulti, even Palm Kench landing a knockup as well to try and follow up. So these backliners here for 300 have to play very careful, because if they stay alive, they definitely can win these big team fights if they get extended out. But the pick potential for CLG really is there.
And Draco's role in that is far from glamorous, as you can see from his scoreline, but it is very essential, and he's playing it super well. And, you know, he already got his highlight moment. He got a solo kill top lane. He's okay with this from there.
Yeah, the Aatrox damage too. Yeah, now it's just Camille press R duty right now for Draco. And right now, it's kind of winning them the fights, as you can see. CLG is still actually down by about 3,000 gold. But again, it just seems like they're in control of the map, despite the advantage maybe not being as much in their favor.
Mia build is back for Minui, by the way. He's going for the Titanic Hydra, just more bulk and more damage also. So I'm pretty excited about that one. Low Pally.
Only the Tom Kench. Yeah. Either way, not going to do a whole lot of damage or a whole lot of crowd control. GSL coming in with the TP. Now 300 want to fight, but they might be kind of scattered a little bit too much. GSL forced to flash away. Flank not ending up capitalizing for them. So just a couple of summoners burned on the 300 side.
Not quite as big as the flanks of the previous game. Jisung can't land it. Both summoner spells are down. And now CLG are actually able to take a mid lane turret all the while this is going on. The play just did not land, and CLG had more members. This is, again, getting me a bit nervous about my 300 prediction. I'm feeling like Rebel might just win out on the day.
Yeah, Rebel and Gennaro definitely pretty happy right now with the way things are going. It's very impressive to me. The fact that CLG Faith is, it is host cap at this point. Analysts, that doesn't even matter. I know Veteran was very, very much in favor of 300 and Leo specifically. So maybe not too happy the way things are going up. But hey, Leo's having a good game. Can still turn this one around, force that game 3.
I am hoping that they do, for the sake of some big gameplay and for the sake of 300. These members have been trying super hard throughout all of this, and they've been one of the more interesting stories too in the entire tournament. So I'm really hoping for them. I'm rooting for them. I know that these guys, they've got it in them to get into that top 10 for amateur, which is what playoffs effectively does for you. As long as you get playoffs in both of the qualifiers, you will make it into that top 10, because that's just math. I'm not going to explain all of that for you.
Yeah, school's out. We don't got to worry about that.
Yeah, exactly. We know that Minui and Leo and Perry all have that in them, and Raheen in the past also on teams like Zeus.
Yeah, I feel like Raheen also kind of stepping up as that leader here on the support here for 300, kind of helping out in draft, helping out in you know, assisting some of the younger players here on this team as well. Really good stuff coming out from a lot of these players. It would be a shame for them to go down this early, but I think in general, just Group C, they have these two teams. You also have Team Pending and AO Esports. I mean, they all seem pretty closely matched. All the series so far have been 2-1s. This might be one as well. It's 300. Still have that gold advantage with the Baron up.
The group of death was the friends we made along the way. Grapes. I'm having a great time here. Yeah. I know it's a very tense position to be in for 300, but they've got a whole lot left of the split. And you know, I'm talking like they're out already. They're not. They can definitely still win this game. They've got this really big Kog'Maw. They still have this lead. It's just they've lost out on a lot of these exchanges in a row, and we already saw CLG do some damage in the last game.
As long as, you know, the main carries don't get picked for 300, I think they win the team fight. The problem is, it is very easy to catch out the carries of 300. I mean, you have so much pick potential, as we were kind of alluding to throughout, you know, the past couple of minutes. But Minui and Leo, you know, both at 3 items, actually Minui now at 4 with that Titanic Hydra completed, can certainly do so much work if they're given the space to operate.
You know, I respect the people at Riot who make the items and like do a lot of that balance work, and like they're like, oh yeah, mythics are so cool. You want to build a mythic every game. You want to do that first. Honestly, for Minui, I think the best last item is just Zhonya's. I don't think any mythic does that for you, but just being able to survive these flanks and get to deal all that damage afterward. Like Kog'Maw has good AP ratios. I think he should just get a stopwatch and call
I've seen some Riftmaker Kog'Maw. I've seen some Crossfire Gauntlet Kog'Maw as well. I see the Kog'Maw try to do a little bit more damage here. At 300 again, starting up this Baron, despite, you know, 5 members being alive for CLG Faith. Getting very, very low. Again, they burn this so quickly, but now Perry stuck in the pit. What can the re-engage from CLG look like? Bako now trying to find an engage. The Berserk does not do a whole lot, but watch Town. Chaos Storm has not been utilized just yet, but here comes the lockdown. 2 members rooted up, and now Bako wants to engage, but a nice flash out from Raheen, and Bako will fall first. Raheen will be the next to follow here, but now Perry is trapped underneath the tower. Draco dashes in with 1 HP and takes down Minui, and now 300. They have the numbers advantage with the health bars, maybe not on their side. A triple kill in for Town, and now Leo will fall. Eventually, Aaron gonna try to lock down the autos. Leo is trying to turn it. He gets the double, but finally Town finishes it off. It is a 4 for 4. Only 1 survives. A quadra kill for Town.
Town is just doing so much damage every single game for this team. I'm believing in CLG. I'm believing in the members that are backing this player up. He's coming out of nowhere and carrying the squad. But Grapes, the play from Draco to be at 1 HP and dive in with his ultimate. I cannot believe that ended up working. There's no way.
Send it as soon as possible. we need to see.
There's no way, man. We have Elder now too.
Maybe we can't even see the replay. There's just more action to be had. Started off slow, but definitely not ending at that point max for game number 2. Elder started up here by CLG Faith. Everybody except for Leo has respawned, but he has to teleport up. He can rejoin the fray. 3,000 HP on the Elder. G-Sung's going to have to come up with a miracle steal, and he's not going to be able to get it. It would look so good here for the likes of 300, but it looks like G-Sung will likely survive. The shields are coming in. The Renata W barely timed out. Town picks it up with a burn.
No way. Man, G-Sung's never buying Death Dance ever again.
Feels so bad. It's like, please, somebody keep shielding me.
Oh man, and now that's going to be the Baron for CLG. There's no way they can get over here for 300. Oh, these games have been so long, so tense, so close. But CLG now have all the tools they need to take a 2-0. They just need one more team fight with all of these buffs. And look at that spine.
I know Hawk made this reference as like the trampoline super bounce, like when you're jumping on the trampoline together and then like your friend sits next to you and then you kind of just like go super high up in the air. That's kind of what CLG did there. It's just so crazy how quickly they've been able to turn this game around. 2 consecutive fights, 2 consecutive major objectives as well. And now, I mean, things are looking very good for them. Town 11-2-2. People had some doubts about Town coming into this tournament being a new face on an LCS affiliate, but he is certainly delivering here in this series.
He really is. We heard a lot of the stories about what the CLG like tryouts looked like and all of the different people that were in there, but it was Town that had all of the confidence from these members on CLG's like staff and everybody, and we're really seeing that come to fruition right now. That quadra kill in the last one, and all of these kills just, well, I told you Victor was able to get all of these kills. This is keeping the undefeated streak alive for this champion. Victor from Arcane is having a great day.
Gonna have to close it out though. Baron still on the table for another minute and a half or so. The Elder Dragon's certainly not, you know, gonna be up for very much longer. So CLG Faith gonna have to go quickly if they want to utilize that secondary buff. Inhibitor in the mid lane will get broken open, and it looks like CLG again want to just play this one out slow and steady.
Perhaps looking for a top lane 1-2,
Or not.
or just using the rest of the Elder Dragon. They got a clone.
They got the clone, but that's just kind of a signal of how much damage they can do if they get onto the right target. Elder Dragon still up for a little bit longer. Not entirely sure when exactly it'll time out, but you can see Town with a poke right now. The lasers nearly taking parry to half HP.
Should be out in about 3 seconds right now. I believe it lasts 3.5 minutes. There it goes.
There
It's
you go.
gone. And they're leaving. Caster math right there. It worked.
That's what happened. Yeah, that's what happened. That's the signal. That's the textbook play. Take the 2 inhibitors when you have the Elder Dragon buff. You back away. Now you try to maybe go for the third. At least break open a little bit more of the structures. Bot lane wave did end up getting into the CLG Faith side, but I don't think they're very concerned about that, just considering how easy it is for them to just play the map and how hard it is for 300 to get out on it.
After watching what they just did in 300's base, I'm fully confident in CLG Faith at this point. This 2-0 is looking really close for them. We know just how good they are with a lead. We've heard it from them. We've heard it just from their gameplay in general as well, and we're seeing it in front of our eyes. They can close this one out, then they can likely move on in this group and go up against, I believe, Team Pending is what we're projected to see.
Yeah.
Maybe AoE, though.
Maybe a rematch.
The loser
Yeah.
of that match.
Team Pending is a lower seeded team. CLG Faith played against them in the last week, and they ended up falling 2-1. So certainly could be another close series, especially considering how much better CLG Faith look so far here against the likes of 300, who are a very strong team as well. The third inhibitor tower now under fire. We see Draco splitting on the top side. They're just kind of, you know, pushing the waves in, making sure they continue their pressure on the map with no major objectives up for grabs.
This is going to be a pretty simple siege for them, for CLG, unless 300 can find some way to engage on them. They've had a lot of struggles doing that, but they've got their flashes up, they've got their ultimates up. This is the time to do it. They have to do it very quickly, too,
yeah.
Otherwise Draco's going to end the game.
Draco very, very able to just walk these minions underneath the Nexus turrets. Leo and Minui have a lot of wave clear, but it might not be enough to keep 300 alive in this game, in this series, in this tournament. Siege will continue. Baron spawning in 2 minutes, Elder in 90 seconds. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised CLG don't go for anything, but they have the playmaking. They can just continue to siege here. Draco again with another wave.
Draco again. He's so annoying for 300 to deal with, and now they're just getting pelted with all of these spells under their own turret. Here's the Berserk.
It's so hard for Minui to move. Now this might be the opportunity with the numbers advantage here for 300, but Perry is so low already, and he might get taken down here with the Berserk on top of him. Bako barely surviving as well, and he actually pops the GA as the last inhibitor turret will finish the job with its final breath. Third inhibitor of the game taken down. 300 have to make a move really quickly or else this game will get out of hand.
Grapes! Look at the top! They've killed 11 turrets! It's happening again!
Oh, we're gonna... Alright.
We might get history again!
I didn't even realize that Azir's back in this game. If 300 FF this again, I will be very mad. I will have a... I will make a mad
strongly
tweet
worded letter.
or something.
Dear 300, we just want to see the number go
We just
up.
want to see the number
Please help.
get bigger. This point. It's
I
11
want to see
towers.
it.
Yeah,
They're
it could
at
be more
11.
even. I mean, this game looks like it's going to drag on for a little bit longer. Teleport coming in from Leo to join the team in the mid lane. Elder Dragon spawning in 10 seconds. And it looks like 300 are going to try to fight this 5v5.
got everybody here. They've got their ultimates. They have Leo's ult and flash. That is the big playmaking tool that we need to see from 300 to actually get everybody in a favorable position to kill them. They're on. Oh wait!
Oh,
look at
Draco
Draco. He's
teleporting to try to end
teleporting.
the game. We'll see if CLG can win the fight in return. 300 have to finish this off so
Berserk?
quickly, or the
Ooh.
series will be over. Minwi still alive. The
Ooh.
dragon secured by 300, and now the kills are going to start come in. It is 2 now for the side of 300, but look at Draco pushing in onto the Nexus turret to teleport. Did end up coming in to try and stop the bleeding, and it looks like 300 will survive with the buff.
Oh my word, Draco. He's against Elder Dragon. He's cornered on all sides here, but he may have found the angle of escape. I think he's done it.
Watch Parry.
Oh wait, look at Parry. The
Okay,
Monkey
he's
King.
trying to find a close, but won't be able to have it just yet. It is 2 down, including Baco right now for CLG Faith. Baron is still on the table. 300 has so much damage to these objectives as we've seen before. The problem is, Smax, there's still 3 inhibitors down in the mid lane. You have teleport up for town. If the waves start to crash in, you could just do that over again.
But Baco's dead. This is surely going to be a very easy Baron for them to secure. No smite to
Don't speak
contest on
too
the other
soon,
side.
Smax. Town is still up.
Yeah.
Aaron is still up. The damage can come through. 3,000 HP. Will the steal come through? No. Parry secures the Baron. No engage for the rest of Faith. And it looks like 300 are still alive in this game. They're again at the gold leads, Max. What is going on?
They actually are staying alive right now. They've got the Elder Dragon. Now they have the Baron as well. Can they turn this one around? There are... it's the super bounce.
They bounce again. It's like going all the way up to like the moon. It's like they keep compounding on each other over and over again when you and your friend are just like 3 feet off the ground each time you're on the trampoline. I mean, man, this is crazy. 300. They very much still have the window to force a game 3 at this point, even though we really counted them out.
Oh, I was almost right about Minui's items, by the way. He
GA.
he went in for a GA. Yeah, so what did he sell? He sold Blade of the Ring King. Okay. I mean, I guess that makes sense.
Oh, it's a
He's
shield
got
bow as well.
3k HP now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went shield bow instead of the Borg, so he's got a mythic in the end. All right. Whatever.
Not the
CLG,
tank.
they've got 5 members mid. They're also trying to end the game.
they're
The
just
Elder
shoving.
Dragon. There's no. Oh, there is still an Elder for
look
about
at
20
that.
seconds.
You can see Minui and Raheen like thinking about it, like, oh, can we stay? Can we go?
Yeah,
we have to
yeah.
back. It looks like they're staying
Such a
for
tense
now.
spot. I can't believe our second game is even longer than the first one right now.
I know.
Graves. This is insane.
And it's even closer too. Like at this point, like
Yeah.
I think 300 have put up a better fight than game number 1, even though it was still a very long game number 1. CLG again still have the inhibitor down in the bot lane. They have the Cloud Soul as well, but now with the Baron buff in 300 side, they now have the opportunity to finally get into Faith territory.
Feel it in the air. 300 don't want their tournament to end right now. They're even checking for the flanks this time. This is a really big improvement for them. They are not going to fall victim to the same thing that CLG has had over them this entire series long, or at least they weren't before. Now Baco back into the same position, perhaps looking for the same thing again, or they're just waiting out the Baron buff to expire. A lot of wave clear here with the Victor, but doesn't actually get used onto the minions and slow power.
Power's burning. Yeah, here comes Parry looking for the engage potentially. Berserk coming out. G-Sung already at half HP though. Baco has found the flank, but the healing out of the Aatrox is too big. Look at Draco though. Minui is taken so low. The Chaos Storm chasing down Raheen as well. The fight on multiple fronts is maybe going CLG's way as the Guardian Angel has been popped on the likes of Parry. He will be the lone casualty in the fight as CLG once again keep their base intact.
Did you see Draco in that engage right there, Grapes? He got in there, he ulted Minui, he caused chaos, he dodged the Azir ultimate, and then he just walked away like nothing even happened at full HP still. He's been the thorn in their side the entire series. Parry's dead. There's no Cyclone. There's no frontline at all. CLG Faith might just walk away with it right now.
All the damage still is here. Minui is alive, and Leo is alive as well. Berserk not up for Raheen. No ulti on Ji-Sung yet either. It looks like CLG, again, playing the long con for now. Take the turret, take the inhibitor in mid, take the inhibitor in top. The waves will surely be cleared out here by the Kog'Maw, and unless CLG win a fight here, it looks like they're not going to end the game.
They're walking away, Grapes. CLG Faith, they don't want to end it right now. The death timer is just a bit too short for Parry as he's going to spawn. We're at 44 minutes in. And Grapes, I have good news. The Azir ult fell, and it's 12 turrets.
We did it!
CLG Faith.
We broke the game!
Oh my god.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a. I don't. Does it show up the same in like the live client as well? I actually don't know.
I don't know. I'm not entirely certain at all.
This might set the record here, folks. CLG Faith might have taken the most towers of all time in the Proving Ground Circuit Qualifier. It looks like it doesn't show up on the client. Yeah, so every other game that has been played ever has only been 11 towers. So CLG Faith, they have 12 right now, and if they get the 2 more to end the game, it would be 14, which completely shatters all expectations.
We've officially made history here on the North American Proving Ground Circuit stream. This is why you tune into Academy, everybody. You gotta check it out.
Oh, no.
You gotta see all the turrets fall. And you gotta see what 300 can actually do from this position. They've got the flash here from Leo. And they very well could actually find another one of those sick engages that they had before. They even see
so
the
tense right
flank
now.
again.
G-Sung went for the base. Look at the vision right now for 300. Where are the TP flank wars? Elder Dragon is up in 20 seconds. And CLG, if they get that second Elder buff, would almost certainly mean the game ending for them.
This is the 3rd Elder buff, Grapes. We got 3 of them right now.
They both
have
one.
On the left.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
well, I guess you're right. But on the left, you saw 2 Elders is the most that's ever been taken in Proving Grounds history.
We did it.
Could you imagine
More
3?
history. More history made. Might be 3 right now. Let's take a look at Minui. Still alive here. That's CLG Faith. Start up the Elder Dragon. It would be a huge advantage for either team if they could pick it up.
TPs.
We'll watch the flanks. The soul laners are going in for the TPs, but CLG are starting the fight first, locking down parry with the ultimatum. Raheen's in a lot of trouble, and
dead.
Raheen goes down. Minui still firing it onto the backside, but here comes Draco. The ultimate comes through from Aaron as well. Minui still alive, proccing that Guardian Angel, but the soul laners have arrived here for 300. Can they turn the fight around? Draco the first to fall here on the face side, but down goes Minui, and now Leo has to use the ulti defensively as Town survives. The rest of Faith are trying to chase down 300. Leo takes down Aaron. No, it will be the kill going in onto the Azir, and G-Sung will go down as well. It is finally the ace for CLG Faith, and I mean, we have to say it, Smacks. The faithful have been rewarded. CLG moving on to the next stage.
Counter Logic Gaming Faith, they're taking this series in a 2-0, the longest 2-0 I've ever seen in my life. But they're here to stay, they're moving on to the next series in the group stage. And just like you said, Grapes, the faithful have been rewarded. CLG do it.
I can't believe that this game went that long. It was 10 minutes longer, I think, than game number 1, and we were saying that that was a really long game. Wow. I mean, I guess this is what we're to expect out of Counter Logic Gaming going on. It's just, you know, making... Hold on, my camera's all messed up. I like, moved it around after all of that. It's about, like, you know, going for the engages and, you know, making the long game kind of happen. And we see time and time again that they're able to capitalize on that. Town had... I don't even know how many kills on that Victor. You know, Aaron on the Senna was able to stay alive and buff up the team for so long. And that's just how CLG Faith ended up taking that series 2-0.
As you can see from the light pouring into my room, the sun is about to go down. That's how long the series went on. It's a fun one. It's been 2 hours already, just 2 games. We still have some interviews left. We still have another series afterward. And Grapes, this has just been a great day already. I can't wait to see what's going on in this interview. I can't wait to hear from the victorious CLG. And, you know, for all you Myra fans out there, Myra is the winner today. Just win. That's what she did.
That's what they did. They just won. Backs against the wall again. They were down 0-2 in the OQs. They just won and came back. They were at a brink of elimination. They just won 2 straight wins. And now they're looking pretty poised to maybe go for that next spot in the quarterfinals if, you know, they end up playing that loser of TBA versus Area of Effect. But that's enough for us here on the Caster Desk. You've heard us talk for way too long. We're going to send it over to short break. I'm going to fix my camera. We're going to be right back with Janira with the interview.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I'm Janiro, your host for today, and joining me here on the interview is going to be 300 Raheen. First of all, I want to say congratulations on making it this far. You guys have genuinely put up an incredible fight. And I'm going to have to ask you the question, what do you think was your biggest letdown, unfortunately, in this final game here tonight?
I think personally as a team, we've always struggled, in our AoE series, team fighting. And it showed a lot of fights that we should have won. We got hit by abilities that we shouldn't have, and it costed our carries lives. So going forward, we'll make sure that our team fighting is on par with the academy teams. and other amateur teams, of course.
Well, I'm really happy to hear that you guys have been able to pick out those issues that you're facing. But do you think, or do you feel like you guys as a team have improved over the last couple of weeks?
For the most part, I think we still have some really bad habits. I've shown, like for example, me solo warding against assassins. I should never be walking the jungle solo, and obviously just before team fights, saying how we want a team fight, how they want a team fight, and win con, lose con, etc. I think we have some other problems as well that we have to for sure fix going into second OQs and the second tournament if we want to make PG. So yeah, we have to get into our running shoes and start running this marathon.
Yeah, start going for this marathon, going for the sprints. And how are you planning on doing that? How are you planning on improving so you can keep running for as long as you can?
I think the biggest thing is just after every loss like this, I think it's important as a team we just air out on what we think the problems is, and obviously start taking measurements on how we can fix these problems. So I think one thing is maybe our individual skill. Although we might be a good team macro-wise or whatnot, our individual skill seems a bit lacking. We're losing some lane matchups that we shouldn't be. Just getting caught on wrong timers. So obviously fix all that, and then I think for sure going to second OQs in the second tournament will be a strong team. I mean, we've shown it time and time again, almost taking game of 100 next, taking AoE to their limits, even with the sub. We're definitely a top tier team, and I think the biggest thing is not underestimating other teams and just playing our game and not theirs.
Yeah, I completely agree. Being able to play your game is definitely going to put you guys in quite an advantageous position. But I also have the following question for you, and that is, what have you enjoyed the most so far here at CQ?
See, Champions Queue?
No, here at the Proving Grounds Circuit Qualifier.
I mean, it's just the competitiveness, right? I've always been a competitive person. I love this stuff. I love competing, striving for the best, and that's what keeps me going. So.
Well, very happy to hear that. And before we close this out, I want to ask you a question. If you happen to have any final shout-outs, any words that you want to share, any remarks that you want to, get out there.
I definitely shout out CLG Amateur. I mean, they played well today. Well, props to them. Give credit where credit is due, and hopefully they will do well, go deep in this OQ, and prove a lot of people wrong. And obviously, props to the team showing up every day. We may have lost today's series, but keep our heads held high and keep moving and on to the future, right?
Exactly. I love the attitude that you have coming into this, and I'm really wishing you guys the best in the future. It was incredible talking to you, and hope to see you guys in the future.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Well, now welcome back, everybody. We got the man of the hour town ready for that winner's interview. First of all, congratulations, you guys came into this, and judging by the predictions from the talent, definitely the underdogs. How does it feel to be walking away with a win and you get to fight another day?
I think that's obviously I'm really happy, and I'm so happy that everybody played well, and I think we're really ready for the next game.
Yeah, well, you guys have a couple more games coming your way, but let's talk about the last one specifically. A lot of Elder Drakes, a lot of Barons. You guys were kind of trying to end it as quickly as possible, but it ended up being a 50-minute game. What are the communications like between you guys as a team, and what is the shot calling like when you get to that point in the game when it's genuinely so incredibly close?
To be honest, I gotta shout out to Lopali. He shot called almost 99% of everything in the whole game throughout the whole series today, and it was just low pally gap. To be honest, I think he can take Trevor's spot, in my opinion. He was so good this game. No offense to Trevor.
Has Opali really had a positive impact on the team in general and just shot calling, or has this, do you think this is maybe one-off performance?
Wait, what does that mean? I don't understand.
Has Opali really brought a lot of positive things to the team? How has he impacted the dynamic in general?
I mean, he was just micromanaging everybody. It was just really good. I don't know what to say.
You also had an incredible performance yourself on the Victor, specifically a lot of these fights really coming down to the wire. You're coming out on top. How does it feel to have that opportunity to play so well together as a team? And how are you guys looking to improve that even further going on to the next games?
I think today everybody was just playing really well. I don't know really what to say. I mean, everybody was just playing really well. By the way, English is not my second language, so like I don't know any words that I can say.
That's okay. Do you want to give any final shout outs or maybe thank your teammates before we end the interview?
Thank you to Lil Pally for like subbing us and carrying us, and shout out to Louisiana. Shout out to whoever's in Louisiana. Sarcasm, Aaron, Shochi, me, the Louisiana gang, and like thank you for everybody for watching.
Well, thank you so much for doing the interview, and you guys did an incredible performance. Looking forward to seeing more of you guys in the future. Have an incredible day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we had the interviews with both of these teams this evening. 300, they really are fully aware of the mistakes that they made. They know what they want to be working on. CLG really working on getting that connection through, getting those communications, having those shot callers in place as well. Veteran, when we look at this game specifically, and also the interview that we had earlier with Rehan, do you agree? Do you agree that 300 are mainly lacking in that communication department, and that's something that they really need to be bringing forward?
Definitely in the two games, you could see a lot of mispositionings across the board, as if the team all had different directions on what to do post an objective in mind. And that gave CLG the openings to isolate Minui, to control Jitsung when he tries to go for a flank. Basically, the only guy who was able to continue playing the game was Leo, and that's mostly due to the pure skill of him. It was really, really nice hearing from Town that Low Pally, in fact, was having that level of impact. When a player says the guy's taking like 99% of shot calling, that he's being deadly serious about it. So all the Twitch chat memes about Coach Macro are in fact 100% accurate analysis, much more accurate than me, who had the 2-0 prediction for 300. But I know not to underestimate Low Pally, who presumably ripped on his keyboard off of him and played the game for him in the first game.
Well, Firefire, do you stand to agree? Do you think 300, like, that communication is the main thing they need to be working on? What about CLG specifically? Like, they really struggled to close out that game.
Yeah, you know, I think I said it was going to be a fighting series, and it was a fighting series. You know, I'm kind of glad CLG were able to get that 2-0, because I don't know if I could have handled a third game if they would have made it even crazier in the end. You know, both the teams were really fighting back and forth, and you could tell both teams really had moments of brilliance, moments where they were playing really well, where they were playing the map well, responding well to what the opponents were doing. And then there were times when I just wish I had a question mark ping that I could throw down on the game, right? Where it's like, what's going on here? Why is this guy there? Why is this teleport? Like, how did this happen? You know, I was like, I need to rewatch that to see what the heck is going on. And I'm not sure if the players knew what was going on, to be perfectly honest, in some of those plays. So, you know, it was an all-out chaos, but I do think CLG having Low Pally there to sort of anchor them, to sort of keep them, you know, grounded in what they could do and how they could scale up, get into those late game situations, and ultimately win them, I do think was probably a very big factor for CLG. You know, as Town was saying, Low Pally felt like this guy who was playing an RTS, controlling all 5 champions, you know, moving everyone around the map and getting the games, getting the series a dub for them. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, it was a banger. There's not much else to say.
Yeah, that was an absolutely incredible game to start it off with, but it's great that you bring up the replays. Let's have a look at the first one specifically, where it really showcased that both of these teams, they have that opportunity to come out on top, but also not really. Veteran, walk us through it.
I mean, this was definitely a game of inches, but ultimately the advantages Low Pally was giving his team was enough. They were like a rock. It was very difficult for them to find mispositionings, but here you can see Perry kind of wants to go for the flank. Jason kind of wants to move forward, but now Perry doesn't feel so much on the flank, and there's a lot here for CLG to work with. Definitely want to highlight what Draco does here in a second, because the moment that this uncoordination gives them a slight advantage, Draco knows he can give his life here, he can take care of Minui for it. Even though Draco at this point was 2-6, he actually is being really, really impactful. It's good for him to go in here, even if he's going to die for it. It gives them an opening to potentially clean up the fight. But Leo here, he's being very fluid in all of these team fights, thinking on the fly. He's able to find windows and potentially bring it back. But ultimately, it's like a one-man army here against a cohesive team. And if Low Pally is the guy that gave CLG the ability to be that strong 5-man, to have the confidence to go for these 1-for-1s, then full credit to him, but also credit to Draco, credit to Alir, who had really, really good team fights in both of the games, and this game credit to Town for sure, being able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, some incredible performances coming through from every single one of these players, but CLG Faith, at the end of the day, they really did struggle to close this out. We saw a lot of Barons. We saw a lot of Elder Dragons come through. We saw a couple of burger flips with those smites as well. And, you know, it was just a bit of a tug of war coming through towards the end of the game. But the second clip specifically that we're going to be replaying right now, Qualifier, walk us through it, because that's exactly what CLG needed to be ending this game.
Yeah, so CLG finally were able to get their cohesive unit together. Draco's not TPing, looking for any ends. None of that stuff's going crazy. They just start a fight, engage. They come from a couple different angles, which is okay with some of their champions, right? And they just go forward as a unit. You see here that even though maybe one of them will fall, they're sort of flashing in and out in sync together. And at the end here, we were thinking, oh, maybe Leo can do it. Maybe he can make it. But especially with Town living on 1 HP over on the side, by the way, to that Kog'Maw passive, they just have too many threats. Aaron almost dies, but doesn't matter because he's got backup from multiple members. And, you know, in the end, they were finally able to bring that team fight together. They were finally able to make it all click. And, you know, in the end, that's when you're going to get the dub. And, you know, it's harder than it looks in these crazy, like, 50-minute games, because your brain really does start to go all over the place, especially when you are, for example, like a 2-6, 2-7, I don't know what he was at that point, Camille, right? You can feel like, I'm useless, I need to like go split push. But no, just stick with your team, trust in your teammates. Really, that trust is a huge part, and I think that's what they had in that final fight.
Yeah, and this definitely did work out for them, and it came out in their advantage as well. So we kind of spoke about things that were lacking from both of these teams, but obviously CLG Faith, they're walking away with that win, 2-0. I think no one actually predicted for this one to be 2-0. Every single member of Talent, excluding myself, here on the desk today, you guys went for 300. So I would assume that this is more of an upset veteran rather than something to be expected. Can you explain why that's the case? Because CLG Faith, CLG specifically, one of those really big teams, a lot of supports, do let us know.
I mean, again, particular credit to the ADC on the side of CLG for his consistent team fighting, but it really does seem like Low Pally was a missing piece. Having that voice in-game can be a dramatic game changer, and it was more of a case of not being able to assess that aspect properly until you see it. But now we've seen it, we won't underestimate it again. I very much hope CLG's future opponents don't underestimate it. And I do have to say, something should be said for the fact that, yes, this was a really scrappy game, this was a really fight-filled game, but that's the exact kind of game you want to see when these players in Amateur want to showcase their individual skills and talents, because it's in those moments that you get hero plays, that you get clutch plays, that you see the people who can go that extra %. So, messy game, sure, but yeah. I love that it's a messy game, and it shows us exactly what you need to see. Maybe we don't need to see free elders every time, but I love to see those fights.
Yeah, we loved it indeed. Qualifier, I'm sure you enjoyed the banger of the match that we've had today as well. Unfortunately, you're not going to be joining us on the next desk, so just as I did for the interviewees, I'm going to be asking you the question. If you have any final words that you would like to share.
Yeah, no, just, you know, shout out to everyone here working these Proving Grounds closed qualifier, open qualifier, all the events, anyone out there who's doing anything, anyone who's co-streaming. I am actually available to co-stream. I'm a bit busy right now, so can't do it, but definitely if you want to see some more action from me, some more analysis, you can go follow my Twitch, twitch.tv/Qualifier, pretty easy. But yeah, just huge shout outs to all the people, all the players. Definitely, like Veteran said, it is awesome kind of when these games are really scrappy, because every player almost gets their moment to shine, right? Like Minwee had some really insane pop-off moments. Leo had some insane pop-off moments, even despite their loss, right? Raheen had some crazy Renata ults in there as well. So like really everyone just gets some piece of the pie. And I hope that all the players, you know, whether they won or lost today, can look back at the series, take stuff away from it, but also enjoy those moments where they played well.
Oh, thank you so much for those kind words. We're going to be heading over to a break, as we'll be back with the second game of this evening. We got Jake's Kittens versus AoE Ginger Turmeric, so don't go anywhere because we're going to be back shortly.